Woo! Woo! Look, I just been keeping my poise. Made by the million, but still unemployed. They text me about green, but not on Android. She not my shawty, she filling the void. I make the sounds that cut through the noise. He think he a man, but he chillin' with boys. Put down the liquor, start drinking LaCroix. The pain wasn't choice, but now I rejoice. My uncle had told me that I was the one. I played the shit smart, now my bragging and dumb. Lil' shawty had hit me, said she wanna come. Her dresses is black, but she not a nun. I'm so Pasadena, cause that's where I'm from. Some bangers, some hoes, them with guns. They scheming for riches, they playing it numb. I'm second, I wins cause I'm second to none. Look, what the you think I do it for? Do it for, hey, looking in the mirror, you the go, hey.
In life, you want things to turn out right. To come out right, you have to have a plan. At Malone Financial, we help you with your plan. Whether for you personally, for you and your partner, you and your family, or for your business. The goal remains the same, creating a bulletproof plan. Victory loves preparation. Let's prepare together. See you on the other side of victory.
I still love that clip.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cousins family, you just witnessed a very great marketing video right there. But welcome back to Secure the Bag Podcast, the podcast where four entrepreneur cousins break down the game, talk strategy, and help you build wealth the smart way, mentally, spiritually, and financially. Everybody talks about getting money, starting businesses, buying homes, investing, but there's one side people don't spend enough talking about: protection. Because one unexpected phone call, one live event, one business issue, one world event can completely change the direction of your finances. Tonight, we got our brother Jeff Malone joining us as we talk about retirement assets, life insurance, businesses, special needs planning, and even how things are happening around the world can affect our lives right here at home. So, fellas, let's get into this, man. How y'all doing today?
Good, brother. Doing well. How y'all doing?
What's going on, fellas?
Good, good. Brother Jeff, it's been a while since we had you on, man. Before
Mhm.
before we dive in, we've started our new thing. I know it's been a while since you've been on the episode, but we got to give the community some information. We got to drop some info on the market updates. Brother Jason, I'm starting with you, man. How we looking on the mortgage side?
We're looking pretty good, man. Rates have been going up and down. We've been at the mid fives for the past like 2 weeks now. We was a little higher prior to that. Ever since the war started, we've been up and down. But everything is looking pretty good. It's stable. It's still, buyer's market heavy right now. Sellers want to sell. A lot of people I've been speaking to over the past couple of weeks, man, they just want to downsize and get out of the state. Some wants to downsize and move into a condo, and some people just want to downsize and rent, and they're gonna decide what they want to do later. So the opportunity is still there. Rates have been since last week. They're about the same, in the mid sixes. Some places nationally they might be a little higher, but for the most part, around 6.5. And yeah, man, the market is good, man. It's opportunity. I tell everybody, the opportunity is now. Everybody's waiting for the crash and all this 2008, but it's going to happen. But it's not going to happen like that. We have our opportunities to pull the trigger, and right now we're seeing a great deal of movement in the market, even in the commercial spaces. Now they're being creative. So take an opportunity. You know, real estate is hyper local, so just see what's going on in your market or any market you're looking to move to, and pull the trigger. If you pull the trigger, I'm telling you, you won't regret it if you do the right things.
Yes, sir. We appreciate that, brother Gerard, man. What you got for the real estate side, man?
It's it's still the same up here in Connecticut. Still super competitive. With the rates rising, it's a little uh I don't want to say less action, but buyer demand lowered a little bit, but it's still super competitive. Still not enough to stop the competition, stop the bidding wars. There are some pockets of areas. Fairfield County has a lot of inventory. Hartford County, a lot of inventory, but still not enough to offset the buyer demand. So, same rules apply. If you hear Jason talking, like you're gonna hear one story, and then you hear me talking, you're gonna hear a whole nother story because, like you said, real estate is hyper local. Up here, you have to strategize. It's still a lot of buyers going through that buyer fatigue, feeling that buyer fatigue, and mainly because not being properly educated and coming with that strategic plan. Real quick, Mike, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and the psychology of a buyer, right? If you said, okay, I'm gonna go buy a house, most people are not expecting to write multiple offers on multiple different properties and still not being able to find that house, right? They're thinking, I'm gonna buy a house, I'm gonna go look on Zillow, find that one, go see it, and then I'm gonna write an offer on that, and that's gonna be my house. And unfortunately, that is not the case. And I don't feel like, I don't even want to say it like that, but you want to educate yourself and prepare. And I'm not sure that people are doing a good enough job preparing a lot of these buyers in the market, because it's a lot of flip flopping going around. That buyer fatigue is driving people crazy, man. So link up with the team. Let's put a plan together and get you right.
Yes, sir. Definitely appreciate that, fellas. Brother Jeff, man, like I said earlier, it's been a while. We definitely appreciate you having you back here again. Before we jump into the topics, just give us a little rundown, man. Just remind the people of what it is that you do. We got your video, but also give us some update around Malone Financial. What's some big news or anything that's happening within your area, your world right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you already know it's two different things that I pretty much have a profession in, which is around real estate and around finance. So on the finance side, Malone Financial, that's my company, my business. I also am contracted with a larger firm as well. Me personally, I have a office in Buckhead and have a nice team there. Basically, what we do is financial planning. We look at different action items for individuals, for families, for businesses, both small and large, and we find ways to help them either scale their business or their household, and figure out how we can potentially decrease taxable income, increase rates of return, and make sure we protect all of their assets and their things that they care about the most. And then on the real estate side, you have the real estate business, and that's Massey and Malone Enterprises. And for the most part, what we do is investment properties, rentals, flips. We do some holds where we hold some. Now we're trying to get in the commercial space, so I'm definitely working hard and praying about that. But for the most part, that's really it. That's where we're at right now.
Yes, sir. So my brother, let's jump into this, man. I know, I believe this was a topic that you wanted to speak on. I believe it's something that's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
When we talk about special needs trust, man. Break that down for somebody that never heard of it. What is a special needs trust, and why is it important that families start to gain some knowledge around this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking from personal experience because I have a son with special needs, and a lot of people do know that about me, but most don't, I would say. So a lot of people don't know that I do have a son with special needs, and he wasn't born with special needs. He actually had an accident when he was a toddler, and then it formed from there. So it's been a long journey for us with him, and one of the things that we came across was the fact that there's certain benefits that he'll receive from the state, that we want to make sure we protect. So one of the things that you have to do, obviously, as an individual or as a couple or as a business, you look at trust for specific assets to protect them. Um, and then when we talk about special needs, it's a different type of trust. You know, you need a special needs trust because that will allow for someone that is special needs to be able to receive financial support without actually losing the eligibility of critical benefits that they have through the government. Things like Medicaid, SSI, those types of things. You don't want those things to be at risk because of them receiving something from a trust, like a normal fashion, you know?
Mm.
So that is very, very critical for anyone that has someone in their family or close to them that is special needs, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You know, as you said, as far as your son, I had no idea. You know, we never really, you and I never really discussed our family. It was more business talk than anything else.
Right.
But how was that journey? If you don't, I want to get a little personal, not too deep, but how was
Yeah,
that
for sure.
journey for you as a parent that has a special needs child?
It's super difficult. I mean, me being a man, a black man, and having a son, you know, with special needs is very challenging because there's a lot of things as a man you want to be able to do with your son, right?
Mm,
And those things kind of either go by the wayside or are not possible for me. So you have those challenges that you deal with, and then you have the challenges of being around your other loved ones and you know your friends and people that are close to you and seeing you know things that they're able to do that you're like, man, that would be nice to be able to do that with my son, you know. So those are like specific personal challenges that you deal with. But then you can't let those get in the way of determining, you know, how his life is going to be played out and also, you know, how you're still going to be able to give him things, you know, whether it be things that I give him in my death or whether it be things that I give him now while I'm living, you know. Um, and you have to understand all of the parameters around that. So it's hard to, you know, put all your personal to the side to be able to say, all right, I need to focus on this dynamic of his life, and make sure that we get these things covered in the right way. And I say for anybody that, you know, has someone that special needs in their life, like you have to figure a way out to do that because otherwise you don't help them, you know, you put them in a situation that is probably not as good.
yeah. Uh, I'm trying to make sure we stay on topic. I don't want to get too deep because I know me. I
Yeah.
like I like to dig
No,
into the
you
brand,
fine.
but I want to stay here
Mm,
on the special needs trust itself. But when you're talking to clients, right? When you're sitting down
mm,
having this conversation about a special needs trust with someone who has a child or a family member that has special needs, or they may have some type of disability, right, where they can't
yeah.
function 100% by themselves in the real world.
Yeah.
Uh, what type of mistakes or what are things that you see that are common amongst trying to leave money for someone that's left behind?
When that person has special needs.
Yes.
The biggest thing is not having that special needs trust. Like that's probably the number one thing that I see. But also not thinking about long-term care early
Mm,
in that person's life, like sooner than later. Because that is a thing that could potentially come up and probably in most cases do, right? So protection on the care side, you know, and not relying only, not only, but you know, government benefits come into play. And sometimes people will lean into that maybe more so than what they should, right? So I would say knowing that you got the government assistance there, but definitely looking at it from the perspective of if this was not here, like what would I need to do, right? And that'll lead you down the right path to be able to supplement any differences that the government doesn't have, but also protect the things that you want to be able to provide for that person.
mhm. So even within this, right? Because as a trust for someone that may have looked into it, we know most trusts can cost a few $1,000s, and I don't want to put a price on it because I know everything is different.
Right.
But is this something that's cost efficient, or are there other things that people can do to in a situation where they have someone with special needs that may, they, hey, I can't pay $3,000-4,000 for a trust right now, but is there other things that I could supplement for the time being until I get to that stage?
I mean, a long-term care plan won't be as much in a lot of cases. Creating a different type of savings account for them is pretty simple. It's not a hard thing to do. Uh, you can still get certain terms in a will. I mean, my thing is, it's like you you get what you pay for, you know, and you get out what you put in, So you have to keep that in mind. If it's something that you can't pay for right now, then maybe we need to formulate a plan on how we can get to that point sooner than later. And in the meantime, just set aside savings and money for that person in their own account, right? And when it gets up to a certain point, then we can say, all right, maybe we take some of this savings that I've been putting away for them and go ahead and take care of the special needs trust, right?
Mm,
And then keep going back to saving and doing what you were doing before. So I think when there's a will, there's a way. And, even if it takes one person, you know, 50 months versus somebody else 10 months, as long as you get to the finish line, that's what matters,
mhm.
So I think for that person that's saying, I can't pay for it right now, let's come up with a plan to get you there because it's that important. I truly believe that just from my personal experience and knowing what's at risk for my own son if I don't do this the right way.
Yeah. No, I feel it, man. So even within that plan of, whether it's trying to create the will the proper way or even getting the trust and things are set up, um, why or how often should someone be looking at their plan and why is it important to constantly revisit it?
I would say 2 to 4 times a year. And it's important because life happens.
Oh, well, hold on. You got to stay there. 2 to 4 times a year, we should be revisiting this plan. Why?
I would say,
That to me that seems extreme. But
yeah.
why? It just seems like a lot. But go ahead.
I would say because life happens. Think about all the things that can happen in a year. Like all the different things that can happen in a year. Like what think about what's happened so far in 2026. Like
Mm,
just globally. We'll be here forever trying to name all that stuff, right? So there's many people that are affected about all these things. Like so all these things that are going on, plenty of people are being affected by inflation, by layoffs, right? By the market. There's people that may have wanted to retire at a specific time and the market drops and it's looking really shaky for them. So maybe they say, oh, well, now I gotta pray, maybe I gotta work another year, you know?
mhm,
Um, with real estate, certain people on the right side of real estate feel better than other people, right? So these things happen throughout the year. People have kids, people lose family members and have to pay for funerals out of nowhere because maybe that person didn't have the proper protection. So now the family got to divvy up dollars, and what you
mm,
thought you had saved for the year is not longer what you got saved for the year. Or you got to make this travel expense to go out here to this funeral to help support the family, right? Um, People get married, you know, and sometimes they think they know exactly what that's going to look like when they commingle those finances, but then it doesn't, right? All these things happen. You need to be revisiting what you set up and making sure, is this still going in the right direction? Do I have any gaps that I haven't accounted for? Is there something new going on with the economy or with, the political aspect of our country that's going to make me be concerned about certain things? I think is important. And the more you stay on top of it, the more you can make sure it's still going in the right direction.
yeah. I had to go to two funerals this year, not within my family, but and both of them had some financial issues,
Hmm.
uh, because it was for the person that I know they were telling me the situations, and for the second one, this was the most recent that the person had life insurance, but whatever the issue was, they had to go through the insurance company,
Uh-huh.
or they had to like talk to the hospital. The hospital had to talk to the insurance company, but they were
Mm-hmm.
talking to the beneficiary, but the beneficiary had to go to the hospital and figure all it
Right.
out. So we had to have another financial advisor get in the middle of it to
It's
help try
crazy.
to deviate and figure out what was going on, because the beneficiary wasn't 100% sure what type of policy it was. And it was like, yeah, so you're absolutely right. When you got to look at it and know exactly what you have. So when things do pop up, all this up and down and trying to figure out, they got to come out of pocket for certain things. And no, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, my brother. I get you,
Yeah.
man.
And you need to make sure that your people know who to call for what,
That's a fact. That's
you
a
know?
fact.
And they should have everything down to know like what all you have in place. You don't want anything to get overlooked either.
Yeah.
You
Um.
know something that's trending right now is, especially in our community, right? We talk about life insurance so much. Nobody talks about what happens more than a death, but somebody's losing their income, or the market changes,
Yeah.
or something happens where they lose their house. How do you create something for living? And I think sometimes we get lost in that we put these big policies, we're putting all this money in, but nobody's like, but what if
What
nobody
if the what
dies
if
and
the what
somebody
if the yeah, what if the
lose their
income
job?
dry up? Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that we've seen that a lot. And then the way the economy and the world is going, I think that's going to be the bigger issue moving forward. People not making enough income, people staying in these places where the cost of living increases so much, you're forced to sell your home. Like,
Yeah.
how do you protect yourself from a non-death situation where you can't pay your mortgage no more, and your wife has to go to work, and she can't find a job because she's been out of work so long, and the workforce has basically almost literally imploded on itself because of the way the jobs are being allocated now, and then they're cutting back. So what do you do to survive? And I think we're losing that. We're losing that a little bit, and it's scary because what if both happens?
Yeah.
What if somebody does pass and you lose the income? And it's
Yeah.
like, how do we look at this whole scope of just surviving now?
Yeah, 100%. Hey, my family that's in the chat, just do me a favor, man. Just to help us and push the algorithm for people to understand. Just drop life insurance in the chat for us right now. Just so that way we can post it and know that people need to have the conversation. Even if you have it, I'm not saying post it if you need it. I ain't saying somebody gonna call you after this, but just write life insurance in there for us real quick. But Jeff, but speaking on life insurance, man, how does this even affect? How does life insurance affect special needs trust?
Oh, if you have that special needs person as a direct beneficiary and it goes over a certain amount, which is very low, uh it can eliminate all their government benefits.
Mm. Break that down for us. How was that?
Yo, that hold on. That's crazy because that was gonna be one of my questions. Like, how does a special needs trust protect loved ones without affecting government benefits? And you just said what you said. That's
Yeah.
good. That's bugged up.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a set limit on what you can leave them. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but it might vary from state to state, right? So you gotta just be on top of the regulation on that. But it's a thing. It's a thing, and that's why it's so important. So if you have that life insurance, you don't want to be, you don't want to leave hundreds of thousands of dollars uh, to a direct beneficiary that's someone that's special needs and receiving government assistance, like government benefits, like Medicaid and SSI and things like that. Um, you don't want them to be the direct beneficiary of hundreds of thousands. You want the special needs trust to be that.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, it could just cut it completely off, right? It can be
Hmm.
like, hey, you got, because of how much assets you now currently have and that money, you no
Yeah,
longer qualify to get the benefits from the government itself. So yeah,
right.
that, and then you don't even if you structure it to where it's like, hey, I'm going to give them $3,000-4,000 a month. However the life insurance is set up, even if it's not through a trust, but
Right.
through some other type of financial vehicle, that can still disqualify them for certain things because it's then like, hey, I now have income to take care of myself.
Exactly.
So, and then I was doing a little bit more research into it as well, where it's like, uh, uh, the money from the trust it's not, it should not be used to pay for like housing and buying cars and just kind of living however you want to live. It should be specifically for the things that you need as far as disability wise. If it's, the health insurance and all that good stuff, it should be paying for things for that disabled person and whatever
Right.
special needs that they need specifically.
Right. And it can also be inside of another trust. So you can have a trust that holds the special needs trust, or it can be, independent,
Mm,
like a standalone.
yeah, yeah.
So you gotta work with an estate planning attorney like me. For myself and for my clients, I partner with 3 estate planning attorneys. So we make sure that people have options to talk to who they like the most and feel the most comfortable with.
Mm,
Because the end result is what we ultimately want.
Are you
yes,
seeing
sir.
more of this now? More clients coming to you asking for this?
I see more clients asking questions about it, but I have to give them the direction on what to do so they understand like how to go about it, and who to talk to. They usually don't have a resource, so I usually give them resources as well. Um, but people definitely are asking about it more. Yeah.
Mhm.
I got a quick question, right? So I don't know if y'all spoke about this already, but we're kind of on the topic now. Like far as the person, the special needs person, they're left with assets, money, or whatever. They would basically have to do a spin down, right, to qualify again for those different government assistance or government Medicaid or different things like that, right? Like far as if
Uh,
they got to spend everything, they got to basically have
oh,
enough.
I get what you're saying.
They got to
That
spend
that
all the
could
money
yeah that could
and
be
qualify later, basically, because they don't
that could
qualify
be
until they got the money,
that
basically.
could be that could be, but then we got to think about it. Who's going to help them with that?
I feel like a lot of times the state and the government they don't care who's gonna help them with that because if like you said if they're left with a certain amount of money then they get the certain amount of money then after that don't the state and the government get the rest of the money, don't it go to them?
Well, the benefits that the state, the government was providing, the benefits that the government was providing, they can go away. So they don't necessarily have to come back, right? But I get what you're saying. Like, is it possible for them to come back if they no longer have those assets or they don't have any income or whatever? And they do like some type of spin down on it.
Right,
But the thing is, most people that we're talking about in this special needs category, by and large, right, are not going to be savvy enough to know all these things that we're saying and have a strategy or method that they do on their own. So my thing is, if this is your loved one, you don't want to put them in that type of situation.
right. They would have like
They
a
can have a guardian.
attorney or conservator or all those different
Yeah,
things.
they can have a guardian or a conservator. So like, but again, if you want to do something a certain way, you need to do it in the way that you know is going to happen. Because I don't want to say, okay, well, I would like X, Y, and Z to happen. I know I need to do this specific document to make sure that X, Y, and Z happens, but then I'm just not going to do the document. So now it's a question. It's a question whether or not this is even going to happen the way I want it to, right? And it's a question of, did I leave this person in a better place? Maybe. Did I leave? Could I have left them in a better place than what I did? I don't want that to be a question for anybody that I work with or me. I want to be able to say this is the best possible scenario that I left this person in. You know, um, so that's the goal behind it. But it could go to where they could potentially get some benefits back. But I don't know. It's a question. Like, um, and you go through a lot of stuff with the estate planning attorneys. So like when I'm having those conversations, sometimes I, come across those types of roadblocks and that people ask, but I always lean on them to
Mm.
to say the best route.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Real quick, hold on, Gerard. I got you. I'm not going to say nothing, or I'm going to say something, but just for future reference, we are having a state attorney on next week as well. So this conversation will be followed up. This is not someone that Jeff personally knows. This is someone that we connected with at one of our men's events. Just wanted to put that out there, just so people know. This week is the financial advisor with Jeff Malone. Next week we have our attorney coming on, Brother Raymond. He's going to be dropping some more information and how we can actually work all of this together.
Hmm.
Brother Gerard. Back to you, my brother.
Appreciate it. So what I'm dealing with a lot right now in my current business is a lot of, the baby boomers, the elderly clients are selling their homes for whatever reason, and a lot of equity, right? The sad part in a lot of these cases is these people are almost left alone. A couple of them were referrals from a conservator. They have no help. They have nothing. So, I, and I don't know if it's even my job or not, but I'm just like, all right, if I sell this property and you end up with $300,000 in equity, what do you do with that money? Like, you know what I mean? Like I've been, everybody's situation is different, and I've been toying
Yeah.
with different things, but can a trust protect that money? Can somebody deposit that money into a trust or create a trust to where they can live off of that trust, until their time or whatever? How do you navigate something like that, Jeff?
It's a really good question for the estate planning attorney. I'll say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But for the most part, what we do is we create whatever account or asset it is. So if it's a certain type of account, if it's a certain type of asset, if it's a certain type of investment, retirement account, whatever it may be, that thing there, can have a beneficiary, or it can have the opportunity to be protected by the trust,
Gotcha.
right? Um, but the way you go about it is really different for everybody, because people that are like closer to retirement, we're looking at that from a different perspective than people that are in their 30s and 40s.
Mm.
Um, when I say close to retirement, I mean like normal retirement age, So anybody that's roughly 60 to 65 in that area, that's going to be different than somebody that's like in their 30s or their 40s, or somebody that just got out of college and started their career. So it will be hard to say like one specific answer on that,
Mm-hmm.
but my method is usually trying to figure out what are the best assets for them from a growth and protection standpoint, and then directing them to the estate planning attorney to make sure that when it goes into a trust, or a trust is beneficiary or whatever, all of that's done properly and correctly.
So to kind of summarize and sum it up for my brain, the first step will probably be to get in touch with you, see
Mm-hmm.
if we can figure out which type of account or which type of uh, investment suits them
Mm-hmm.
best, and then take that investment, possibly depending on what the estate attorney says, and put that into a trust.
Yeah, for the
Okay.
most part, that's pretty much how it goes, because you're going to want to talk to the person that's helping you with your finances, in terms of like how your money's going to grow, how you're going to protect your assets,
Gotcha.
your retirement savings, all of those things. Get all of that set up first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can talk to the estate planning attorney, and they can kind of walk you through what they can do in terms of protecting those assets.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so brother Jeff, man, we kind of touched on the topic a little bit. We haven't touched this in a while, right? Let's bring it back to like the beginning days of like just life insurance, right? We haven't discussed life
Mm-hmm.
insurance in a while, man. Um, Break down, the basics of life insurance, and then what are some of the misconceptions people get about what life insurance actually is?
I mean, the basics is, people ask me what's the biggest benefit, and they ask me like, they give me a rundown of different types of coverages that they've heard about, and like, what's the benefit to this and that. I always, for me personally, I always say like the number one benefit is the death benefit, you know, because you're solidifying a set amount that is going to go to your family tax free, or whoever the beneficiary is, tax free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's not a lot of questions around that. So for me, like that's the biggest thing because you can literally put your family, loved ones, whoever your beneficiary is, in a way better spot, right? Um, and outside of that, you got to think about the type of coverages you get because a term coverage is something people ask me about. Permanent whole life coverage is something people ask me about. The variables, the universals, all of those. I think that first you want to make sure you're not underinsured. You want to know what your human life value is, so you really want to know like how much coverage should I actually have?
Can you explain that? Under what you said?
Underinsured.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
can
can
you
explain
explain?
it. Real simple. The way I explain it the same way every time. Because most people have bought a house or a car, right? So if you buy a house or you buy a car, you got to get insurance, right? I mean, I guess you technically could roll the dice, but yeah, you got to get insurance, right? So you get insurance on your home, you get insurance on your car. If you got a brand new car or you just got a brand new build for your home, right? When they come back and they say, hey, you need this amount of coverage to be able to fully replace this house, to be able to fully replace this vehicle based off of the value, right? Or for the home, based off of how much it costs to rebuild this house, right? Most people, by and large, are not really asking questions. They're like, all right, cool, let's do that. Is that the best premium you can give me? All right, let's do it, right? And with the house, people ask less questions because it's usually escrow. Right. So it's tied to the mortgage. It's like, how much is it changing the mortgage? Not that much. Okay, great. Give me everything I need. Right. The same thing happens when you think about us as individuals. There is a value around you as a person, right? In terms of how old you are, your health, how much money you make, how much longer you have of your working years, right? And if you wouldn't, shortchange your house and risk not being able to rebuild that home if something happened to the roof or the foundation or it burned down or whatever, I don't really want anybody to take that risk with their lives, like them personally. So that's really how I typically break it down. You know, most people getting a brand new car are getting full coverage. You don't want to be underinsured. You don't want to go get a new Ferrari and then say, I don't really need full coverage on that. Like
That's a fact. Yeah, yeah.
you're not gonna say that. So why would you say that on your own life? You know?
Hmm. So and then I noticed that's and I think I heard it, but is that very similar, or is that the exact same thing as the human life value?
That is the human life value. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to know what that number is. Does that mean like every single person in the world should get exactly what that number is? I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you should know that number so you can say, okay, if I can't get that, like, how close can I get to that number? Right?
Hmm.
You don't want to be walking around underinsured. And then you want to make sure you get the right type of coverage, what works for you the best. And that can change over time, which is another reason why you should look at your plan 2 to 4 times a year, right? Because you want to make sure you're adjusting that. And for me, I much rather people, speak with some type of advisor somewhere about those things because they can actually complement other things that you do. Um, so it's nothing wrong with getting your life insurance from an agent. There's nothing wrong with that, like an insurance agent, like on online or something, or a call center. Like it's nothing wrong with that. But I would definitely say at least talk to someone that may be an advisor that works on all these things, investments, retirement accounts, insurance, like all those things, to make sure like, hey, is this complementing everything else I have going on in the best way for me, right?
Hmm. So even so, just like you're talking about how this uh human life value and life insurance, right? When we talk about these things, how does that affect people's ability to build wealth? How does life insurance affect somebody's ability to build wealth?
The person themselves or their household?
Uh, let's go the person themselves.
Yeah, the person themselves, I mean, there's ways that you can actually get specific types of coverage options that will grow and make you money, right? And it will have different tax benefits than other things you may have, like an investment account, or advisory account somewhere, some type of portfolio managed account. So you want to have both tax benefits if you can, and you want to be able to grow money in different ways if you can. Um, there's certain coverages where the money's going to grow guaranteed, like you get guaranteed growth. That's a beautiful thing to be able to have. Uh, and I would always say, like, just look at the ways that it can complement other things that you do. But you don't, for me, when I'm talking to people, I'm like, doing only one thing can be really risky, right? So
Mm,
you want to look at all the different options you have available and determine what are going to be the best mix for you and where do you start? Because not everybody is going to do every single thing at once, right? But if you understand what it is you want to do, what you like, and what's going to put you in the best possible situation, then come up with a plan on how to get there,
yeah.
right? But a big misconception is that you can make a ton of money from these coverages like in no time. But it takes time to build and grow. So it's not something that you can just do in a month, in 2 months. It's different from the investment market in that way.
Yep, yep. And then I want to hit this topic that it just kind of jumped off of me from what you were saying, right? From those that have been in the financial space, I'm pretty sure you have heard the term uh, buy term and invest the rest.
Yeah.
We know what company that is. I'm not gonna throw names out there, right? Because
Yeah.
there could be a lot of hate. There could be a lot of back and forth when it comes to this
Yeah, I
type of
get,
company.
yeah.
But what's your perspective on buy term and invest the rest? Do you think it's something that people actually do? Do you think it's sustainable? What's your thoughts on that?
I think everything has its place. There may be points in your life where that is the best method. Do I feel like everybody can do that one method? I don't, because I don't think every single person can do the same thing and end up with the result that they want, because everybody's goals are different. Everybody's, household makeup is different. People's incomes are different. People's ages are different, right? Some people are married, some people are single, some people are in their 30s, some people are in their 50s. Some people have a home, some people don't have a home, right? Some people have kids, some people don't have kids. So how could we say that everybody should do this one strategy? We could never say that.
Exactly. Well, real quick. So what I just thought about though, from an entrepreneurial thought, is yes, just like you said, not everybody can follow that route, but they've they know their market, they know their audience, right?
Sure,
When
yeah,
you
sure, sure,
when you
sure.
when you
Yeah.
look at it from that perspective, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna hit everybody, but I'm gonna hit
That's true.
everybody that needs term and going to invest the rest. If you ain't trying
Sure.
to have that conversation,
I can
you
agree with
probably
that.
wouldn't move.
Yeah, I can agree with that for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
from a marketing standpoint, I think they definitely hit the button exactly where
For
they need.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hold on.
I,
Quick
I don't
question.
I don't agree with it, but I get the point. What's up, King?
You think you should buy, borrow, die?
What do you mean?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Because I thought that's what Mike was gonna say. So like you buy whatever assets, you borrow against it, and you let your life insurance pay for it when you're dead and gone, and then maybe
What's
have a
the,
trust set up for the family to get something. Because I've seen people talk
yeah.
about this online, so I thought I'd ask you about it. As far
I
as
mean,
because a lot of people talk about that. Some of them explain it in detail, some of them don't.
yeah. Uh, I mean, I would have to see
You
what
heard the term before though. You heard it before.
yeah, but I need to know what you meant by that.
So like far as people buy assets, they buy property, they buy
I
things.
get what you mean now. Yeah. Yeah, I get what you
Uh,
mean. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would definitely want to make sure like the person knows like what is their end goal, and
right.
is that going to achieve it? Because I think sometimes, man, sometimes we hear things on the internet, online. social media, and it feels more like buzzwords to people that are in the industries that are being talked about, right? And they're like, hey, wait, it's more to it than that, right? Like even when we talking about real estate and we talk about mortgages and we hear certain buzzwords to get people to say, oh, I want to do that. And if we're in that industry, we're thinking like it's way more to it than that. Like they gotta they gotta give the people more words, not giving them enough, you know. So I think when it comes to things like that, somebody should just go deeper before they make a decision.
Yeah, I think
That's
I
an
think
everyday
that
question for me, Jeff.
you said what?
Huh?
You said what, Jason?
That's every day for me in our industry. Is like,
Right. I already
where
know.
did you hear that from?
I already know. People think they can get houses for little to nothing,
No
you
money.
know. Uh I don't really have to put no money down for real, you know. Uh I shouldn't have to have any contingencies, you know. Like people say the people say things because they hear these buzzwords and it's like that's not everybody. You know, you can't take that and say that everybody can do this thing this way and end up with
Exactly.
the end result that you have in your mind
Yeah.
doesn't follow that road. you know, you need to that's right there is for people in the HOV. You're not traveling in the HOV, brother. You still on surface streets. You can't
What's
go that direction, right?
what's the HOV?
The HOV is somebody that
HOV lane and highway.
yeah, the HOV lane is somebody that has more than one
Oh,
passenger in their car and they can go in the express lane, right?
mm,
Or they're paying for it and they can go in that express lane. It's some people that, we still on the surface streets, man. We still gotta get around the potholes a little
Right,
bit.
finding our way.
Yeah, you still gotta get around these potholes and watch out for the pedestrians, and
Right.
we get into the interstate, but you're not there yet. So I think it's a lot of times we see certain things, hear certain things, but it's just more to it. That's all.
yeah. And then, man, because we were talking about special needs trust and how important it is to begin that process for someone, even on someone that has a child that doesn't have special needs, how
Yeah.
early should a parent, a guardian, anybody be looking to put life insurance on a child or another family member or even just themselves? What
You
what, what
said
should be something that they should be looking at?
you said what say the question again?
How early
How early?
should someone be looking to put life insurance on another person in their family
Yeah, it's a good
or even
question.
themselves?
It's a good question. And I hear the question all the time. And I always say the same answer. Always.
What's
If
the
you're
answer?
alive.
If you're
If you're
alive.
alive, you should be getting it. Because you can't go out here and let something happen tomorrow. You're not here anymore. And then what you want to call me then and say, hey,
I should have called you.
Mike, Jason, Jeff, hey, fellas, remember that thing y'all were talking about? Can I get that now? It doesn't work like that, you know? And you don't even have to actually be no longer here on this earth. You can have a health situation that comes up and now you just can't get approved for it anymore. You're too risky for any company to approve you anymore, right? Or if you do get approved, right, it's going to be a higher premium and it's going to be a low amount of coverage.
Yeah.
So if you're alive, you definitely need to be looking at it. If you're in good health, you need to be looking at it ASAP. ASAP.
Hmm.
And that's for anybody. Like I got my daughter's coverage when she was 13 weeks old.
Yes,
Two
sir.
of them. Got her two of them. You know, my son.
Yeah.
We were talking about my son earlier. After he had the accident and he was diagnosed with this condition, he's uninsurable,
Mm. So
right?
so you were able to get it before he had the accident.
Yeah, you can get it. Yeah, if yes, because as long as it happened before, I mean, as long as we got it before it happened, we're fine. But after the fact,
And then the problem is you don't know when something's going to happen.
you have no
So
idea
better to cover now than it is to cover later.
or not be able to cover
Hey,
later.
Well, Chris Rock has the best definition of insurance.
what's that?
Insurance is in case shit happens.
Right.
Mm.
And he said, if shit don't happen, do I get my money back?
Well, with the life insurance, we know that happens.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
inevitable.
yeah, that nobody got the cheat code for that one.
The cheat code.
Nobody got the cheat code for that one. If they did, I need to figure out who that is. But
I,
all of us are going to be at some point in time no longer here on this earth, right? So people don't want to think that, but it's true.
Yeah. Can
I
you add a
got,
question?
yeah, I got one more question. So, how do wealthy families leverage life insurance differently than middle class families? You would say.
Mm. That's a
So
fire question, King.
it's
I
a
love
good
that.
question. It's a really good question. I mean, from my experience, they make money off of it sooner and longer, and they do the same thing for their kids while their kids are like just being born. Um, and they do nice coverage amounts, um, with heavy amounts of premium growing into cash that eventually, like, it ends up paying for itself because it ends up coming to a point to where you're making more than what the cost of it is. So it's like at some point in time, that occurs for someone that might have been like my daughter. She was like a baby, right? So by the time she's like 20. No, matter of fact, I have two of them. So before she's 21, one of them will already be like paid on. She'll never have to put any premium, drop a dime into it. And I pass that to her, and she's gonna grow for the rest of her life. Right now, imagine if I had like 5 or 10 of those. You know.
Yeah, which one is that? Yeah, you got to put that in the chat, in the group chat.
All right, I put it in
Let
there.
us know. Trying to get
All
going
right.
right now.
Yeah, Jeff, that's gonna have to be another conversation we have, man, because I know um with when we talk about permanent policies, there's a lot of controversy that comes up when it comes to like whole life and IULs and all these
Yeah,
things. A lot of people talk about, well, hey, it's not really what it is, or they say you're gonna get this, but you're gonna get that. You know what I mean? I want to dive in, but there's some other topics that we needed today, but we definitely got to put that on the note for
yeah,
for
we can put that on
consideration.
there. We can put a pin in that.
Yeah, because that
I
one
can
that one
talk.
can
I
go
can
deep.
talk about that for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But so even okay, so we're talking about life insurance, right? And
Yeah.
the one thing you said is if you're getting life insurance on somebody, get it while they're alive, get it while they're healthy, get it while they're
Younger and
young.
healthier. Yeah, all of that. Hmm.
Yes, sir. So now, how can someone take that same ideology? Can they take that same ideology and push that into retirement almost?
Yeah.
Or is life insurance an asset in a way that you can use for retirement?
I mean, you could use it for retirement if you wanted to. Uh, I say you still need some retirement assets outside of that, though,
Hmm.
for sure. And yeah, the sooner the better for that too. You know, there's clients I have that do those things for their kids. Kids
Yeah.
don't even know what's going on. You
So
know,
so what type of account do parents open for children like that
you can
for,
get
like
like
when
an
we talk about
IRA.
retirement?
You can get like an IRA. That's real simple, real easy,
Okay.
real simple, easy. You can get an IRA and start saving money there for them. You can get a custodial account, where it's like a brokerage account. It's that's real simple and easy too. And you could be saving money for them there. Of course, you can get like high yield savings and things like that. These are easy things you could just get and just save money there. You know,
Yeah.
and that money, the goal is that money to grow over time. And then when they get to a certain age, you basically can now hand something to them that all they got to do is just keep up with it. You've already set a foundation for them.
Hmm.
The foundation is set and it's moving in the right direction, and it's been doing that for years, right? So like And when you start earlier, you can do not as much because of how it's going to compound over time, right? Versus like
You
me,
can do not as much. What do you mean by that? That part kind of.
like so me starting something for my daughter when she was 13 weeks old versus somebody starting something for their daughter when she's 13 years old. I can make more from what I started at a lower contribution amount
Correct.
than they would be able to if we're both giving that asset to our child at the same age, right?
So yes,
So those are all things to think about.
got you. So then,
And the same is to be said about retirement, you know?
mhm.
So same.
So what's the difference, right? Because there's all types of accounts out there. There's 401ks, there's Roth
Yeah.
IRAs.
Yeah.
You at work and you start. They're like, hey, which one do you want to do?
Yeah.
You kind of pick one of like, I think this one make the most sense. But what's the difference between a 401k, a Roth IRA,
Bro.
and a traditional IRA?
There's several differences. I think the main one that we can say is one is a qualified plan. It's employer sponsored. So basically it's a plan that's the employer is offering to a group of employees and you're able to put money into that as a group or whoever wants to contribute can, right? And a lot of times there's a match involved with a vesting period, so you could potentially get a match from the employer for the contribution that you put in. Now on the IRA side, that's you. It's an individual account, so that's just you. It's just what you do. And then the actual contribution limitations are different too.
So
So
real quick, when you say that's me, that you mean I don't have to just have it through the
it
job. I can
won't
put it
be
on
it
my
won't be
own.
through your employer. It'll just
Okay,
be yours individually.
got you.
Um, and there's other things like there's just plenty of other things that we can go into. We could probably put that on another conversation too.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Hey, Ken, you might just take a notes on that as well, just on the what was it, different type the other types of retirement accounts.
yeah,
What
because there's
about
different things you can do with those qualified plans that you can't do with the individual ones.
that? Yep.
Uh, yeah, yeah, it's different.
So what? So if I'm already, let's say I'm already into my well long working years, right? I'm figuring stuff out. If I'm saving, let's say I got $50,000. I know everything is kind of like everybody's different, certain situations, but we just level regular person. They got regular stuff going on, nothing major, but they're really good saver. They got 50 G's.
Hmm.
They wanna start saving more for retirement.
Hmm.
What avenue should they take if they're about, let's say, 30s, mid 40s, something like that?
Hmm.
Uh, what avenue should they be going, like a 401k, a Roth IRA? What avenue you believe should be one of the things they should take?
I would have questions because I would need to know like, are they working for an employer right now? And if they are, does that employer offer a 401k, a 403b, a 457, a TSP, something like that? And if they do, like, are they matching with it? You know, what kind of investments are inside of it? Um, I would want to know that. And then I would also want to know like what are the other accounts they have. So if they have 50K in savings, like do they have any other types of accounts that might have investments in them? Um, that's important. And then I would also want to know their living expenses because they need to have a certain amount of that savings to stay where it's at for a certain amount of time to cover living expenses, right?
Mm.
That's super important. And I also want to know if they have their income protection plan in place. Because if they don't have an income protection plan in place, we need to cover their income for a certain amount of time too, especially if their employer doesn't offer that in the group benefits package. And if they do offer it in the group benefits package, we need to determine what is being covered, right?
Hmm.
So I would have all those questions lined up as just a basic idea of what to start talking about next and what to start to exploring next. Um, and those things change. Employer benefits don't stay the same year to year.
Yep, yep.
So that goes back to your other question, like, why is it important to continue to talk through these things each year? And life happens, like I said, people get busy, and some people can talk about it twice, some people can talk about it 4 times, and sometimes it's one time. But I think it's important just to at least tap in and discuss it, or explore it, or just review it on your own, and see if you have questions for whoever your financial professional is. See if you have
Mhm.
questions for them.
Yeah. Um, for the clients you've sat with, right?
Mm,
We're still talking retirement. The ones that want to retire, they've started to really think about it, but they're not really in the space to do it. I want to make sure I'm asking the question correctly.
okay.
Uh, or let me switch it just a touch. For the clients that have already started on their own, they haven't sat with an advisor. They don't really have a professional game plan broken down. They kind of like, hey, we watched a couple of YouTube videos. We kind
Yeah.
of started these accounts. If you've ran into any clients like that, what mistakes are happening the most when things aren't sat with a professional?
Mm. Okay, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Uh, some of the mistakes that I see are they may be putting too much money into one specific bucket and not spreading it out to other types of options that could complement that one bucket.
Mm.
Another one is people either are underinsured on their income, or they don't have their income protected at all. Another one is some people haven't accounted for exactly how much they need in living expenses because they haven't accounted their living expenses. Like, they actually haven't gone in and said, let me figure out how much this really is, right?
Hmm.
Outside of my normal liabilities, like the normal things people usually know: mortgage, if you have a car payment, right? If you pay what, car insurance, cell phone, things like that, alarm, like those normal things people will typically know, right? I'm talking about everything else. Like, do you know how much you spend on dining out every single month, every single year? Like, all the dining out, like, do you? Most people need to sit down and look at that.
Yeah.
Do you know how much you spend on just random items for your kids when y'all just out and about and they're like, hey, daddy, can you get me that? Right? Do
My
Hmm.
you
favorite
know,
word no on that. I ain't gonna lie. Favorite
you
word
know, do
no.
you do you know how much you're spending, exactly how much you're spending on gas, maintenance on your vehicle, right? Car washes, subscriptions. Like, any of us that got a significant other or a spouse or something like that, especially if you got a sister, like, or a sister or a Latino or something like that, like, there's Amazon subscriptions, right?
I know you
There's
would just
all,
call a woman expensive, my brother.
they're not cheap. I don't know many cheap ones, brother. I don't know many cheap ones.
Some
I
dudes
know
go
y'all. I
through
know
that.
y'all brothers not messing with any cheap women. I do know that.
No, sir. No,
You heard
sir.
So, so these things add up, is what I'm saying. They
Yes,
add
sir.
up, right? So we need to figure out what they add up to, so we can figure out, how do I need to maintain that, right? How do I need to maintain that, and for how long? So sometimes when we start breaking these things down, because we create balance sheets for people, we create income statements, cash flow allocation models, we do retirement analysis, all of that. But it's simple and plain. It's plain upon tables. Like, you can't miss it the way we put it together, right?
Hmm.
It's not a whole bunch of diagrams and pie charts. It's just numbers, simple and plain. Like, here's your assets, here's your liability. This is it, right? Here's your living expenses. We laid it out. This is it. Here's your bottom line at the end of the year. Are you in the red or are you in the black? Okay. Do we got more work to do, or do we just need to figure out what to do with this? Right? That's the first thing that I find that people have not fully done. They probably have things in motion, some type of account that tracks a certain amount of things, but fully going out and doing all of that, and then starting from there to figure out where you should put your money, right? That's a big one.
Yeah, that was something we spoke about last episode, if I'm not mistaken. You know, and
Yeah,
I said that it takes a few months when you're new to budgeting. It takes a few months
it's gonna
to
take some
get
time.
comfortable
Yeah,
with like managing. Like, okay, I only have this
right,
amount of money to
right.
spend. I cannot go above that. Like you have to really be focused on not spending money sometimes because
It's
when you
true.
just live frivolous. Somebody say it for me, frivolously.
Frivolously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like I got it. You have to physically stop yourself. You have to
yeah,
cut some things off, cut some subscriptions off,
yeah.
cut the fun off, cut
Because
whatever. Yeah,
there's certain things that we pay for that we don't even realize we're paying for.
exactly.
And we're like, I don't even need that.
Yeah,
Right? So yeah, that's a big one, I say. It's a good
yeah.
question, man. It's a really good question.
So, man, we've hit special needs trust. We've talked life insurance. We've talked retirement accounts very briefly. But now, you said this earlier that a lot of things are affected when it comes to war, your personal self, like things that just happen randomly. Um, when we talk about this Iran war right now, man, how is this affecting everyday prices, groceries, gas? What exactly is it affecting?
Affecting a lot because it affects people's mentality in a lot of ways. You know, like some people are scared, some people are nervous, some people are angry, some people are upset, some people are like, I'm done with America. I'm out. I'm gonna be an expat, right? Um, so I think that based off of how it affects people in all these different ways, we see that coming back into the different markets and industries, right? The investment market has some volatility. The job market, right? Inflation is definitely there. Inflation is, I mean, where's inflation going to go? I don't really see that disappearing, you know?
Now, boy, I wish it
Um,
would.
we just don't. We just don't.
We,
So
we,
it's all a thing. It's all a thing, man. And we deal with the taxes on everything. You're dealing with taxes on everything. You know, I was talking to about this. I was speaking somewhere else about this, and it's like if you really think about it, right? You get income, and then you get taxed on that two ways in most states. Jason, he you know he living good, but federal and state, right? Brother Jason, he's ducking the state right now. But we're gonna get him to move to Georgia. Start paying some Georgia state taxes. But you got state, you got federal, right? And then now, okay, now you got your money that's left, right? If you got a home, guess what? You're paying taxes on that. If you got a vehicle, guess what? You're paying taxes on that, right? Now now let's say you want to buy something for your home or your vehicle. Guess what?
Pay taxes on it.
You're gonna pay taxes on that, right? So if you couple that with inflation and then you couple that with a temperament that's super volatile between all of the people that are living in the same economy, and then you start to see a bigger separation between, you know, rich, middle class, poor class, to now it's like merging from three to two classes. A lot of people, man, have a mindset that's going crazy. So I feel like that affects us in a lot of ways because certain things that you would have made a sound decision on before, now you're not necessarily making as much of a sound decision because of all of the outside noise,
Yeah.
right?
And then what because we're talking life insurance or retirement,
Hmm.
how
Let me
like
respond to that real quick, Mike.
go
Let me
ahead, my
respond.
bad.
You know
Yeah.
what's crazy about that though, Jeff and fellas?
Yeah,
It's it's that way on purpose. Like it's structured this way on purpose because this particular market is literally making billionaires more billions of dollars, right? It's
it
making
is.
the
Yeah.
wealthier wealthier because it's all strategic. And I think sometimes us as regular, how they say in the South, regular folk, they think it's like, oh man, this is this. I gotta vote. Oh, it's just me being late. Like this is strategic. It's literally strategic. There
Mhm.
was no reason, and I'm not trying to get political. There's no reason for the war. Only
Mhm.
reason is to make more money, to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. Because the more you separate the classes, the more control you have. Most people don't think that's true. They're like, "Oh, I can
Mhm.
control myself." I'm like, "Nah, bro. If you don't hit a certain category, right, when it comes to finances, if you don't make a certain amount of money, you're never going to be able to catch up." And they're making it even harder now. That's why the financial literacy, the 401ks, the
Yeah,
retirement,
super important.
taxes on properties
Mhm.
right now. Like they're trying to control you, and what they do is feed you something, and you're like, "Oh, this is good for me."
Right.
That's why more now than ever, you can't think about me and my family. You have to think about everybody because if you just think about your needs and your well, what they say, you vote. Most people vote against their own interests. And you think about your
Yeah.
own interests. You're literally going to hurt other people because of the way you vote now. And it's
Mhm.
crazy that you said that because now you're looking at. I'm like, bro, all this is crazy right now.
Yeah.
Yo, there's only two classes right now. It's
Yeah.
rich
It's
and
getting
poor,
crazy. It's
and it's
getting
and it's,
real
it's crazy,
crazy.
right in front
Yeah.
of your face, and people
Right in
be
front of you.
like, "Yeah, no, it's not. It's not true." Like, bro, it's literally happening right now.
Mhm. Cause look at the homeless community, you know? You got man, I went to I'm getting off topic. I'm not even gonna go there.
Now
But
go ahead, run it.
I'm
You
sure
might.
y'all been to California. You've been to LA, right?
I haven't been to LA, but I
Not
was in
recently,
Vancouver
but I've
one
been there.
time
Yeah,
for like
Yeah,
six
like
months.
downtown LA surprised me. Like because you hear it like on the news, you see it on social media, whatever.
yeah,
But man, I was shocked. But they say a lot of people, my point behind it is they say a lot of people now are choosing to be homeless so that they're not part of the rat race. They're
the
not
rat
part
race.
of the system, right? And I mean, you can say what you want, but I can actually see both sides of that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
I can see how that could be concerning, but I can also see how that could have somebody in a state where they feel free, you know?
Yeah,
Hold,
King,
hold
go
on.
ahead.
Not being funny, but if they out there with the rats, man, they kind of part of the
They,
rat race.
Ah, I see what you did.
That was
But they
crazy.
but they might be in a good spot
I,
where it's no rats, man.
man, I hope they
They
are,
they
man.
might
yeah,
be in a good spot,
I
you
hope
know?
they are, man. That was crazy.
King, you something else, my brother. You are something else. I tell
So that
you.
was crazy.
Uh, yeah. This is my last question, fellas. If you got something for him afterward, we're gonna try to wrap. We are going to wrap up at 8:30 for brother Jeff. But with all this going on, man, because I want to make sure we bring it home of how these outside things affect the things that we've spoken about today.
Yeah,
Again, as far as retirement and life insurance. But how that what's the direct impact of war? Like how is it affecting my 401k? How is it affecting my life insurance? If I don't already have it, how is it
yeah.
affecting me the longer I wait?
Okay. This is a good question, and I can't answer it like with a specific answer, but I can
Yes,
give you
sir.
an idea. Uh, so when there's war and there's turmoil, right? There's typically going to be some volatility in a few different markets. Investment market, which real estate market is included in that, right? And so you'll see some volatility there, and that could have also be a counter reaction of, or two, the Fed rates, right? And mortgages and lending solutions, right? Um, all of those things are kind of affected in different ways and sometimes by each other. That's the best way I could put it because we can't really forecast like this one thing or this one sector or this one area is affected by war in general. I mean, that would be hard to say, right? But we can definitely understand like the dynamics of the different sectors within these markets and how that would ultimately affect them, because war is going to bring about those things.
Yes,
It's
sir.
just a natural thing.
Yeah, yeah. Fellas, we getting ready to close out here. Any last thoughts? Anything you guys want to say on this topic before we get up out of here?
Now,
I think
I think the
we,
scary part about it is that the market is speculative, right?
yeah.
So it's driven by emotion. There's no like to be there's nothing real about the market, right? It's
Yeah.
all driven by emotions,
I
right?
mean, I would say for the masses, but if you think about the big players that are making the big moves,
Exactly.
not so
That,
much.
for
Not so
them, right?
much.
It's a very few who
It's
are
it's an easy conversation for them, you know.
exactly they're killing it. But for most people, it's speculative because so most of them know what's going to happen, right? Like everybody say, I
Mhm.
want to be a day trader. I'm like, man, it's hard to be a day trader, bro.
It's difficult.
It's
You gotta
difficult,
watch it.
right?
You got
Because
you got to
Manipulate.
devote you got to devote some time and some effort. You
yeah,
got to devote yourself to it.
because they know the answer to the question already. Once
Mm,
you get to a certain level, they already know the answer to the question. So we
mm.
sit here and we're like, they're playing this game and we haven't figured it out yet. So that's why when you talk about 401k and life insurance, it's like, damn, bro, they mastered that also. They
Yeah, yeah,
mastered that
yeah.
to grow their wealth, and we're still trying to play catch up because they try
It's
to
true.
change the rules every time we play catch up. They try to change the
It's
rules,
true.
and as
I
the
mean,
rules don't
rules
even
change every year too.
yeah, and it
So,
changes, and it's like, how do you adapt to it? And I think it's just like Jeff said, being consistent, getting something you put the money into, and you watch it grow. Then you get 10 policies, and everybody get policies. It's interesting, man.
yeah, it's true. I think the takeaway from that, what you just said, is, knowing how these things work, because there's certain things that will give you guarantees. There's certain contracts
Yeah,
that you can get guarantees with, right? So, shouldn't you look at those at least just to know? Like, shouldn't I at least know like how these guaranteed contracts work?
Mm,
You know,
exactly.
to Jason's point, I think you should know, So, yeah, man, I'm down to pick up from where we left off on everything. I think this was a really good conversation. It's always tough for me talking about the special needs side, especially um, from a personal side with my son, but I'm always willing to open up about that because hopefully it can help somebody else.
Nah,
Yeah.
for sure. Appreciate that.
Um, Before we get into our gyms, Gerard, you got them pictures?
What pictures? No.
No. Okay, never mind. I was messaging you. I thought you shook your head. Yes, I just sent you a message. Don't worry about it. But I'll just say it regardless, real quick. But Secure the Bag does have a. I'm not dropping them in the on the actual page itself. But we got a couple of events coming up. I'll run it just by the dates and the time. These are all mini events as well. So my brothers, if you need something to do, some way to connect as well. June 6th at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's an event to reset and refocus. Uh, June 7th, there's another event. Oh, well, let me go back to whatever, you can read it. June 7th, there's another event at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then June 2nd, there's another event 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and I'll drop the flyers. You can get all the information, exact the locations for all of them. Um, Man, these conversations are important. Just like we're having right here on the podcast today. Some of these conversations will be had at some of these events. We will be there at least two of them. We will be panelists on these events as well, man. So come definitely check out us. Check out the event, support. Again, come in network, come find somebody to talk to, connect with another brother. Jeff, before we get up out of here, man, as always, we got to end with one more gem, my brother. So I'm gonna start off with you. King, you gonna go last, and we'll go somewhere between.
I would just say understand what you have, understand where you want to be, um, and understand how to get there.
Yes, sir. Brother Gerard.
I I just had a conversation with a couple guys yesterday, and just listening to the last topic that we was talking about as far as the economy and stuff like that. I feel like it, Jeff, you don't have to touch on this, but I feel like the inflation numbers are the new numbers. I think you know, a lot of people are looking at it as inflation and it's going to go back down and da-da-da. Me and Jason laughed about how they took coffee out the numbers. Like, you can't fudge the numbers to what you want them to fudge them to. But the point is you got to keep up. You got to invest the time into whatever your craft is, whatever your skill is, whatever it is you aspire to be. You got to go get it, and it's time. It's time to go get it.
Yes, sir, Brother Jason.
Man, I think you should sit with a financial advisor. You should sit with a mortgage professional. You should sit with a real estate professional. You should start mapping out your future, especially the younger you are. I think if you start early, you can really gain a head of steam by the time you get into your 30s, man. I really do believe if you do that, you put this hyper focus on achieving a certain milestone by certain dates. I think that's the best way to go in today's current economy because we don't know where it's going to be. The other thing, anybody in Connecticut looking to purchase a home, I am officially licensed. My branch is officially licensed. I started working already yesterday. I spoke to King. Actually, I spoke to King yesterday about it, man. And I already got applications I'm taking. I already spoke to like 3 or 4 realtors, man, the last 2 days. So if you have anything in Connecticut, you're looking to purchase a home, down payment assistance, I'm official now. I can do more than DSCR commercial deals. I can do traditional financing. Let's go.
Fire. That boy know how to use the button. Good job. He used the buttons. Hey, but shout out to you, Jason. That's dope, man. We definitely look forward to doing some business with you up here, my brother. My gem for the day would be educate your children. Man, that's been heavy on my mind. You know, you guys hear me talk about it every other episode. Like even today, you know, I got my daughter driving. She's about to be 16. Next Saturday is her birthday. So I'm gonna have a 16-year-old. So I've already been having her driving for like the last 5 months, man. You know, she's a really good driver. But then also outside of that, I've created some budget sheets and, you know, coming up with fake incomes and the bills and having her look at it and like, yo, let's talk about, okay, for the summertime, what do you want to do? Do you want to get a job or do you want to, you know, learn a skill around doing hair or around baking, you know, sweets and stuff like that? Learning a skill more than trying to just go get some money and spend some money. So that's my thing, man. You know, if you're learning these types of special needs trusts about life insurance, 401k, teach that to your children. Brother King.
For me, would be stop only thinking about yourself and think about the people that you're never gonna meet.
Stay solid.
Stay solid.
Facts. I always said that because his shirt, and that's one of my boy V. I like that. Cousins family, that is another episode, man, of Secure the Bag that's in the books. Big shout out to Jeff Malone for coming through and dropping real game on protecting your wealth, your business, and your family's future. Remember, getting the bag is one thing, protecting it is another. Make sure y'all tap into the next episode because we're bringing an attorney on to go even deeper into trust, estate planning, and protecting everything you're building right now. If this episode gave you value, make sure you share it, leave a comment, you know, send it to somebody, like it, do all the good things that you are allowed to do. We definitely appreciate it. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, this same platform, 7 p.m. Peace.
Beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul, good karma is a must. Still my shooter in the cut. I was stuck inside a rut. Played the game, made bank, moved G. Anything to get a buck. You won't find me in the club. I'm in the lab trying to sharpen up the sword. Swinging blades at these scrubs. Flock like bugs to the light. Getting right. Treat my hoes like these raps. I don't really got a type. Off top, bullshit. All I needed was a mic. Yeah. Hey, pass the rock, it's all butter. Pack your bags and take flight. Don't worry, it's all covered. Hey, live your life while you can. Our days are all numbered. Rain could cause thunder, but the sun comes after, clearing up the disaster.
Isn't it lovely? I ain't looking back, I'm focused on what's in front of me. Everybody day's a number, but I'm still here luckily. I know that God got me, so I'm in good company.
So take it from me, I got some places I should take you to see. You know it's easy when you ride with a G. Light speed, moving fast through the city, trying to find me some peace. I finally lived to be the guy that I was dying to be. Still I got some trust issues, people lie through their teeth. The more I grew, the more they hide in the crease. Squad building, weak members get released. If we trying to compete, starting pitchers need relief. Bro, we building a team, everybody got a niche. I've been known to play mine to a T, but it's time for me to lead. Picking dirt right out the cleats. Steep path, roadblocks in the streets, trying to knock me off my feet, cause the devil never sleeps. So I don't sleep too, and trying to breach safes that I didn't have the keys to. We all been victims of trauma we ain't agreed to, but the sun comes after, starting up a new chapter.
Isn't it lovely? I ain't looking back, I'm focused on what's in front of me. Everybody day's a number, but I'm still here luckily. I know that God got me, so I'm